what are the ingredients that you need to achieve 10 crores in the next 20 years? And if you can help us with different scenarios age-wise.
Yeah, sure. So look, I think we'll go with the basic math first. Any future value is equal to what you can put in or park today in terms of your present value, multiplied by the rate of return, which is the compounded annual rate of return, what you're investing, of the tenor for which you are investing, which is the time horizon, right? So there are three critical ingredients in this entire equation, which is the present value of your corpus, which is what you can invest today, what you can put aside today. Second is the rate of return, which is the rate at which your investments are growing, right? And we can all argue what is the right combination, equity, debt, asset allocation, so on and so forth. And we can very well assume a rate, which is a generic rate of return which markets have been giving to us, right? And the most important and the critical ingredient out here is time. If you give time to your investments, right, the compounding kicks in. And compounding is sheer magic, Sonia. Both of us standing out here can't even visualize. We can't think geometrically. Our minds are attuned to think arithmetically. We can do 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6, but we can't do a 6 into 6 into 6 into 6. And we'll just fumble at the fourth step, right? And that's what compounding does to your investments. So when you put the time factor, which is the most critical factor, that will lead you to a huge corpus and that will create magic in your portfolio.
Okay, so the power of compounding, right? So I want to understand the different scenarios. So what we've done is Mohit has very helpfully put together a couple of charts for us, and I request my director to just pull up a 10 crore corpus, say over the next 20 years, right, at different tenors. Okay, here's the first chart. Let's go with this. Now, what we've done is we've assumed here a fixed SIP, and if you increase your SIP by 10% annually, right? So this is for a 1 crore corpus. We're not even talking about 10 crores here. This is the amount, and assuming a very nominal 12% annual return, the amount that you will need is, you need a lakh per month if you want to achieve a 1 crore corpus in how much? In about 6 years,
6
right?
6 years
and
with a fixed
20 years,
SIP.
with 20 years, about 10,000 per month?
Yeah.
And if you top it up, you want to take us through this, Mohit? Go ahead.
Okay, let's do this with the 10 crore corpus. I think they'll give us a perfect picture of where we want to end up if we get to that.
Okay,
yeah,
here
I think this gives us a very perfect picture. So look, I think what most of us will have today, and I'm just assuming that the audience out here is roughly in the band of around 35 years, and we can all tweak it accordingly as per the chart out here. But let me talk it out for an age group of around 30 years. We have a good 25 to, let's say, 30 more years to go for the retirement, anyone around that age group, right? And if you do a fixed SIP of 25,000 rupees a month, that will take you to a corpus of 10 crores, assuming a 12% return in 32 years, right? So if you are at an age of around 28 years, 30 years, you are fairly well slated. All that requires is a 25,000 rupee monthly SIP without breaking it, without tweaking it, without churning it, without redeeming it. Continue it in a disciplined manner for 32 years. At a 12% rate, you will reach your corpus. How do you make it quicker? How do you make it fast? If you increase that amount just 10% every year, right? All of us get our bonuses, all of us get our increments. We're all working in corporate lives or we are doing our own stuff, right? So if you can just increase this amount every year in a disciplined manner, and this might not, let's say someone might argue that my salary increase is not 10% or so on and so forth, but you can always pump in your bonus to make sure that an amount equivalent to a 10% increase is getting into the SIP every succeeding year. So which will mean that the 32-year will fall down to around 25 years in terms of corpus accumulation, which is a good 7-year kind of a reduction in reaching to that 10 crore kind of a corpus.
Okay, so if we can just go back to that chart, I'll come to this chart as well in a bit, but if we can go back to that chart, yes. So what Mohit is trying to say here is that you can save a good 7 years if you just top up your SIP 10% annually, right?
Absolutely.
With an amount of just 25,000 rupees a month. I think it's pretty achievable for a lot of us who work in this age group of about 25 to 40 years old. Got that. Let's move on to the other one as well. And this is, of course, assuming a very average nominal 12% return.
Right.
Now, there was another chart that came through. If I can just ask my director to pull that up as well. Yes, this one. You want to explain this one to us?
Okay. Have a 20-year horizon, right? And nothing more, nothing less than that. So this is a computation at 20 years. The computations can vary by a few thousands here and then, depending on what you're rounding up to, basically. But if I want to achieve a 10 crore corpus and my rate of return is 15%, and I just have 20 years, then my amount to be invested is 66,000 rupees a month, right? But if you kind of increase that by 10% every year, then that 20-year horizon will become shorter, or this amount will become lesser. So either the amount decreases or the tenor decreases, depending on how you want to tweak the entire equation. But the three factors of the equation, the critical factors out here is the return which we are assuming. We are taking a 15% return out here, and the time. The time plays the most important role, because the longer the duration, the more the power of compounding in this.
Okay, now there's a very interesting question I have here, right? So considering someone like me, I'm 37 years old, so just take ballpark 40 years old, right? In 20 years, by the time I'm 60, if I want to achieve a 10 crore corpus, I need to, if you go by a very, this is a higher rate of interest that we're assuming.
We have a chart with
There's
a 12%
with 12% as well, yeah.
So we have taken all scenarios. I think this is all assuming different combinations. So look, Nifty life till date has delivered around 14.5 kind of an IRR or a CAGR return, right? We have a chart with a 12% return. I think the previous one, we can take that for computation.
Okay.
We have one more on 10 crores actually. Yeah, I think this one.
Okay, so this is the one that we're looking at.
Yes.
So if I have 20 years in hand, rate of return is 12%, I need to invest 1 lakh per month.
1 lakh per month without any increments.
That is at this age of 40.
That is at this age. I'm not assuming any previous corpus out here. If you have any previous accumulated corpus, which most of us at that age will have something saved somewhere, right? And that portion is also growing. So that will add on to your kitty. But standalone, if someone fresh were to start at this age and still wants to accumulate a 10 crore, right? Though you're still you're a little late in the race, but if you invest with a 1 lakh amount every month, you are bound to reach that corpus, assuming a 12% return, which to my mind is a very fair return to assume.
It is a fair return. So this is the table that you really need to see, right? Amount of years you need and the amount rate of return. This is the monthly expense or monthly investment that you'll have to make in order to reach your 10 crore corpus. Hope this was helpful for our viewers.